The story starts in Japan, and we see a girl named Nishino, who was still sleeping in her bed. She woke up and she went into the bathroom. After showering, she looked in the mirror and was very nervous because she was going back to school after a terrible incident with a stalker. She got dressed, and when she opened the door she was scared for a moment. She realized that everything is fine and she was driven to her school. When she arrived at school, Nishino got out, and all the students greeted her. Suddenly she met the only person in school who she despised. The reason for this was that Minoru always mispronounced her name. He apologized and said that he usually knows the names of all main characters in school. Then he made another attempt to say her name, but he mispronounced her name again. Meanwhile, Nishino noted that he had never really looked into her eyes, and she hated Minoru. Following this, she was praised by her classmates because she was a celebrity, and she tried to ignore Minoru. Later, Nishino went to the bathroom to calm herself down because she was kidnapped by a stalker in middle school. Since then, she has been hiding behind a mask. Then class started and Nishino was the best student in the class, who was loved by everyone. She played the teacher's pet and was nice to everyone so that no one would hate her. Suddenly, she heard beautiful piano sounds coming from outside the school building into her classroom. This is how we learn that Minoru Kaganu was responsible for the sounds. He played the piano and the other students went home. In the evening, Nishino called her driver and asked him to pick her up at school. Unfortunately, he was seriously injured by criminals. As a result, Nishino decided to walk home alone, and Minoru saw that she wasn't picked up by her driver. She realized that she hadn't been walking home alone since the incident. Suddenly she heard a noise, and a scary man who had been looking for her showed up. She tried to run away, but a car blocked her path. So she was captured, and the men planned to kidnap her. At the last moment, she saw Minoru, and she fainted out. A few hours later, she woke up and she wondered where she was. The kidnappers said she should wait until her father paid the ransom. Meanwhile, one of the kidnappers was talking too much, and they started arguing with each other. Then we see Minoru, and he was ready to fight against the criminals. In the meantime, one of the kidnappers told Nishino that he likes her body. He said that he will make with her a baby, and he tried to force her to pick up a soap. In that moment, she remembered the day when a stalker kidnapped her and did naughty things with her body. Suddenly they heard a noise on the roof and the kidnapper was scared. Minoru entered the building and he intended to punish the villains. He introduced himself and called himself Stylish Ruffian Slayer. The criminal tried to shoot Minoru with his pistol, but he threw a knife at him. So one of the kidnappers was defeated and his partner was impressed by the Stylish Ruffian Slayer. The opponent said he was bored since he was discharged from the army. Then Minoru said that he always wanted to fight a soldier and they started fighting. The criminal managed to injure Minoru and he tried to kill Minoru. At the last moment, Minoru parried his attack, and he said that crowbars are more useful than a knife. He explained to the ex-army soldier that he could use his weapon as a tonfa. Suddenly his enemy changed his fighting style and he said that Minoru has a weakness that he exploited. Then, Minoru realized he couldn't play anymore and he decided to get serious. He knew that crowbars had a lot of potential to defeat enemies because he used it to beat up many motorcycle gangs. When the criminal found out about the story, he remembered about a guy who hunted gangs every night. Following this, the ex-soldier ran for his pistol, but Minoru prevented it, and he showed his opponent the true potential of a crowbar. He defeated his enemies and broke all their bones until they lost consciousness. After that, he went to Nishino, and he took a knife. He freed her, and told her to be more careful on the way home next time. Suddenly, he disappeared, and Nishino wondered where the masked hero disappeared to. Later the police were called and the identity of the mysterious hero remained hidden.